welcome back, and I'm standing right on top of the Mount Edgecombe Interchange, which is of course being officially launched today. It is a massive event here in eThekwini and in KZN as a province overall, and as promised, I have with me right now the CEO of Sanral, Mr. Skhumbuzo Macozoma. Thanks so much for speaking to us this morning.
Good morning, Sakina, and good morning to South Africans on Morning Live today.
Well, obviously a very proud moment for Sanral, adding to an already impressive array of infrastructural projects across KZN. But what about this one stands out?
This is a massive project. It is a 1.14 billion rand interchange upgrade. It is boasting some characteristics that are firsts in the continent. This flyover ramp that we're standing on now is a kilometer long. It's the longest ramp that has been constructed in Africa, linking, of course, the eastern bound M41 carriageway with the southern bound N2 carriageway. It is a project that has been done in partnership with the city of eThekwini and the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the Department of Transport. It's a good example of how government can work together to deliver the much needed infrastructure for the people of this country. Of course, you know that Durban North is the growth area for Durban. We are providing this infrastructure to enable development to continue. AXA invested in the airport. We are investing in road infrastructure. The private sector is investing in commercial infrastructure, and the city is investing in settlements as well as economic infrastructure. Together, I think we're providing the much needed stimulus for the growth of this part of KwaZulu-Natal. And of course, we're not done. Recently, we did the Umgeni interchange, which is just further down. We will be finishing the northern part of the N2 between Umthunzini and Empangeni. And from there, Sakina, we're going for the big one down in the Eastern Cape, where we're building those two majestic bridges on the Wild Coast to be supplemented by a brand new alignment of the N2 road. Essentially what we are doing is to enable this corridor from Mpumalanga on the N2 all the way to Cape Town to be able to start fulfilling its role in completing the picture of all the critical corridors that move the South African economy.
Well, just looking at the traffic building up now, and most of it coming from the west inbound. So tell us, on a daily basis, just how much traffic goes through this particular interchange?
We've got some 40,000 vehicles per day that move up and down the M41. And we've got some 50,000 vehicles per day that move up and down the N2. On the interchange itself, if you add up the numbers, you reach a maximum of some 200,000 vehicles per day that traverse this interchange.
Now, you spoke about the cost, this was Sanral, and you spoke about the collaboration with the city, with the province. How much did this cost in total?
In total, 1.14 billion rand. The city of eThekwini contributed 100 million. The province contributed a further 300 million, and the balance was contributed by Sanral.
And just looking at the end product, you spoke about this particular 1 kilometer flyover bridge, but we've also been hearing that this is incrementally launched. What does that mean exactly?
That's the new technology that we use to construct infrastructure. It is an infrastructure mechanism that allows us to do this work without disturbing the movement of traffic on the floor bed of the N2 itself. Remember, previously we would have had to close sections of the N2 to allow for construction to happen, put our scaffolding and so on to make sure that we build the bridge from one end to another. With this, the traffic was not interfered at all. Traffic kept on moving, people were working up here, and incrementally you would launch the concrete decks. We've got 23 piers that extend on this one long flyover. And it was done incrementally without affecting any of the traffic. The other impressive thing about this specific interchange, Sakina, is that it acknowledges the traffic patterns and movement patterns of all road users, not just vehicles. We've acknowledged pedestrians. There's a very long pedestrian bridge that we've constructed here to make sure that people are able to move from the Phoenix area to the Umhlanga area safely. We've also acknowledged that there are public transport services that need to engage with people on this interchange. So if you ever look, we've also constructed laybys where public transport can offload people who are then able to connect to the pedestrian facility that we've put up.
Well, you've spoken about other projects that Sanral are involved in and will embark in across the country. Last week, Minister Tito Mboweni, the Minister of Finance, touched on the eToll story. And I know you were here in KZN, but of course, urging people to pay. We heard the Gauteng leadership of the ANC saying this is not what the party had resolved. So where are we with regard to eTolls in the Gauteng area?
Let me start by saying that as a state-owned entity, we love the citizens of Gauteng. Gauteng is the economic hub of this country. We want to find a solution to the current impasse. We must put emotions aside and look at practicalities. Government alone is not going to be able to fund the demand that the infrastructure in Gauteng puts on the fiscus. If we were to request all the money that we need just from government alone, monies would have to be redirected from health, education, social services, and as has been recently done, from passenger rail services. That is not good. We can't rob Peter to pay Paul. We need all of these services, which means it's absolutely important for us to tap into private finance to be able to develop economic infrastructure specifically. We all agree that government must fund social infrastructure, but economic infrastructure has direct benefits for those that do business. And I think they need to contribute to developing our infrastructure. So let's continue with the conversation, but let's move out of our corners. We need private finance to supplement government funds. Gauteng alone needs an additional 44 billion for us to do phase 2 and 3 of GFIP. And we're still stuck in the politics of phase 1. And we are now moving into a situation where we're going to have to start spending a lot of money to maintain the roads that we developed in 2010. Government does not have enough money. So insofar as we are concerned, the eToll scheme shall continue. It is in the interest of the people of Gauteng for it to continue, because the option of cancelling will prove to be more expensive than maintaining the scheme. And in the end, if we do cancel, the people of Gauteng are the ones who are going to pay more. So it's absolutely important that we accept that the scheme should continue. Let's find a better way of funding it so that it doesn't overburden our people, but it's in the interest of the citizens of Gauteng.
So just a final question with regard to that. Are people paying? What is the level of compliance with eTolls in Gauteng at the moment?
Of course, this is a sensitive project. Every time somebody says negative things about the project, people ask themselves what is going to happen. So the uncertainty is not helping. We are appealing to our people to listen to the right people. This is not a political project. This is an engineering project. And it's about supplying the services that are going to help boost the economy. So if you talk to engineers, please pay your eTolls. It is in the interest of the citizens of Gauteng.
Well, thank you so much. That's the CEO of Sanral, Skhumbuzo Macozoma. And with that, I'm going to hand you back to Leanne in the studio for the latest news. And we'll come back to speak to some of the other dignitaries present here at the Mount Edgecombe Interchange. Back to you, Leanne.